Morning all, and welcome to today's Sunday Q&A. The introduction today, we're going to be introducing a new regular feature to the show. That's a good start, isn't it? Incidentally, the new regular feature to the show line I got from the first series of Alan Partridge, Conc. Knowing me, knowing you with Alan Partridge. Every week he would introduce a new regular feature of the show, and the following week it wasn't there. I think only one of them actually occurred twice, and the amount of times I've introduced a new regular feature to the show, antique vans. We're still doing the Courier Driver Awards in case anyone's interested. They don't tend to crop up. So, but this one I think might stick because a new regular feature of the show, Pete's mistakes from last week. See what I mean? I've got a sneaking suspicion that this is going to run and run. So from last week, Steve Campbell says, you might want to travel east if he's in Devon. If he goes west, he will be in Cornwall. Swindon and Reading is east, as is Bristol. And Godzilla says, well, we're west of Bristol. He says, well, it cleans the van a bit. You know that the Bristol Channel is, you know the Bristol Channel, then the Atlantic Ocean, an amphibious caddy van maybe. Ever use a sat nav to find your way out of the truck? Yeah, as I have said before, guys, world's worst courier driver. If the sat-nav, I live in Dunstable, if the sat-nav goes dead in Dunstable, I wouldn't find my way home. Absolutely hopeless. And full transparency, I was recording the video. And then about 15 minutes into it, the child got up. She never gets up this time of the morning on a Saturday, but they're going to view some flat, her and her boyfriend Dave. And so I'm trying to do the video while she's making breakfast in the kitchen. It's kind of distracting. I'm not a professional, you know, I'm not one of those sort of anchor men where things are bombs going off and they're totally oblivious to. I'm a Mickey Mouse, ex-market trader, useless courier driver, and very poor vlogger. So that's kind of what, and that's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it. And also, White Van Man says, I hate to disappoint you, but Luton are not top of the championship. They're third, which will get them a playoff place at the end of the season. Basically 1 and 4 chance of promotion to the Premier League. With 6 games left in the season, Leeson couldn't catch Burnley, who are top, and guaranteed a promotion. Luton could mathematically catch Sheffield United in second, but unrealistically and highly likely to do so. In my defence on this one, I know absolutely nothing about football, so when I went down the pub I had to rehearse various different lines. Man on, square. Yeah, that's always a problem with Arsenal there. I was just trying to walk it in. And secondly, when I said top, I kind of mentioned, I mean, at the top. Not top, but I assume, what are there, like 20, 25, 24 teams in a league? So if you're like 4th, as I believe we are, that's in the top bit. And then there's the middle bit, in my mind, which would be like, I don't know, 8 to 16. And then there's the bottom bit. So when I said top, I kind of meant not top, but still very surprised and very pleased. I might start going to the football. My wife may start hating me. Don't think she hates me now. So, the big video this week, Nick at London Creative, just let you know, timestamp. I got told off for not doing timestamps. Where I got to, how I got to where I am today. One of the guys asked the question, how did it come about? And kind of, I suppose, short of trawling through 700 videos, I kind of figure the Janet and John version probably works quite well. So Dale Steele says, wow, with a title like that, you think you was on par with Eddie Stobbart? I'll be honest with you, Dale, I retitled it. Originally, it was just like where I am one step at a time. And it's kind of like a clickbait thing. I kind of thought, if I actually write where I got today on the CX, and it kind of worked. I imagine that video got 2 or 3 times what it would have done otherwise, but it's the weirdest thing. If you want a video to go well, all you have to do is do one on how much money you're going to make, or how much of a disaster I'm having. And be honest with you, the disaster ones rate even higher than the money ones. But that's not my thing, I don't do this to try and get the most viewers. It's not like, oh, look, try and get as many viewers as time. I kind of do it. I kind of do it because I do it. And the idea is to try and get information out and to help people and try and spread it all out. So, but I did do it in this case, so I've got to put my hands up on that one. Belsization says, I'm in an Arctic too, and I started one step at a time. I think of it as a giant puzzle. But if you start at the edges, getting your Class 2 licence, that means you filled in another puzzle piece. Don't listen to negative people because there are plenty. Remember to set yourself a rate and not drop below it. And just get the load. I know what you're saying. You just do, it's one journey of a million miles, one step at a time. Right, I want to be a self-employed truck driver. First thing I've got to do is actually become a truck driver. So I get my CPC, got my CPC. Right, now I'm going to go and pass my test. Right, now I pass my test. While I've been doing all this, I've applied for online for an operator's licence. I've now got the money together for the operator's licence. I've now taken the advert out for the operator's licence. I've now got the operator's licence. So I have the ability to drive a truck and I can actually put a truck on the road. Right, now I'm going to buy a truck. Then you buy a truck. Then you go on the exchange. It's a long journey. It's a long journey. But if you do it one step at a time, when I started writing a book, one of the best pieces of advice I was ever given was don't not do something because it's going to take too long. The time will pass anyway. If you want to do it, just don't think you just do the massive journey. Think, right, what's the first thing I've got to do? I've done that. Right, what's the second thing I've got to do? Right, let's do that now. You'll get there. Cowboy Dan says, thanks Pete for the video, no problem. I'm looking at getting my lorry licence, was looking at a 7.5 tonne, but now having second thoughts. I will also look at 18 tonne because the bigger you get, in the meantime, I would recommend an 18 tonne. 18 tonnes will cover 12 tonne jobs and 7.5 tonne jobs. 7.5 tonne just covers 7.5 tonne jobs. You could look at Luton's jobs, but you wouldn't. A 26 tonne is also worth doing, but for the amount of 26 tonne jobs on there, I don't think with the extra length and the extra diesel and the extra sort of wear and tear and all that, I think 18 tonne is a sweet spot for trucks on the exchange. Just my personal opinion, as I've already stated. I know nothing, so please don't listen to me, but that's just my opinion. Lewis Gates says, he's enjoying the videos. Think you've done well. Yeah, thank you, Lewis, on the CX with the videos. Any chance of a rundown of what the CX are charging now from small VAT up to 18 tonne? It's an outlay the CX keep adding to. Again, Lewis, I could, but I'll be honest with you, the prices aren't that dissimilar. I did a video, I think, last year where I stated what the prices were and what I thought they were doing. And again, if I put a video, my mate Nigel, who's the one he's my best mate from school, and he's the one that runs the website and all that, he says, you want to do this video again? Because this is the one. And I kind of think, yeah, I know. But if I do it, I'm back in the realms of doing what I said I wouldn't do. Maybe I will, Lewis, I don't know. Let's put you down as, let's see how we go. I might have to do a little update. Okay. Shane Hardy says, as a famous fish once said, just keep swimming. Like you said, Pete. Try it out. If it doesn't work, at least you tried. Was that Dory? I've got a 26-year-old, so I seem to remember finding Nemo. I believe that might be Dory. So, and that was where I got him today. So, and the other one, of course, timestamp. I've written them down. There we go. Was part 2 of JCB Wales, which was the Life on the Road video. Steve Campbell says, I wouldn't use the M6, here we go. I wouldn't use the M6 toll between Aylesbury to Wrexham, as you would have to double back to the M6 to Junction 10, then double back to the M6, and I'll get picky. We've already established I get it wrong. I didn't put it at the beginning. David Batcher says, I don't know how you drive with your seat so loose. I have mine with minimal moments so I don't get seasick. And Godzilla says, I used to be a firm lad and then had a truck with a knackered cable, so it was like bouncy castle time all the time. I soon got used to it and can't cope with fixed seats. When I got in on the trucks, I was always fixed seat. To begin with, I mean, my mate Harry, one of our drivers, loves it. He's bouncing up and down. You bang your head on the ceiling sometimes. That's not true. But he's bouncing. I always put it on fixed, and then I don't know what happened. I think somewhere along the line someone must have adjusted it. One of the mechanics must have got in and adjusted it. I forgot to adjust it back. I'm not even sure it's working now. But to be honest with you, it's kind of okay. It only is that bouncy when you go over particular roads. Normally it's pretty much okay. So, as Steve Campbell also said, he said, I was at JCB Earth Movers the other week. We're supposed to be there on the hurry up. I got there at 6:30 p.m. and got tipped at 9:15. I ran out of time at 9:30, so I spent the night in their lorry park. Well, at least you get free parking. At least it's safe, I should imagine. But yeah, JCB. Don't want to say anything on that score. Jeremy Hawke says, what's going on there, Pete? He said, you've got to have holidays. He said, I always take 10 days in June and 10 days in October. And if the King wants to shut down on a Monday, I will have a few pints in the White Hart. This business has to work for you and provide you with a few luxuries. It's true. But then having said that, oh God, I turned out to be a good one on Friday, but kind of, which was All the family have actually gone up to Scotland because some of the relatives have got a wedding up there. And I went, we can't go. Well, no, Lisa went, we can't go, in fairness. So my wife said. So my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, my kids, Molly and David, they're up in Scotland. And I went, it's going to, because the problem is when you're self-employed, if you take one day off, it's going to take, you lose the day. Plus there's the cost of the flights, plus there's the cost of the accommodation, plus there's the cost of the meals and the booze. And before you look at it, it's a load of dough. And so instead I went out to work Friday, and I thought, if I have a rubbish day on Friday, I'm going to regret this. I also thought if I could get a job up to Scotland, I'll drive up to Scotland, I'll go at the 2 and I'll drive back today, Saturday. Because I'm calling this on Saturday. As it turned out, I had a really good day. So I'm kind of vindicated, but yeah, you are right. I tend to take my holiday at Christmas, because I know January and February is quiet, so from about the 23rd of December, I stop. And January is a quiet month for me, but that means I basically have to work the whole rest of the year. If I ever get to a position where I've got a few quid, I may get holiday in the summer, but at the moment, that's just what it is, mate. It is what it is. Could be worse. Godzilla said, he said, I work the bank holiday, so I get a day off in lieu. The miserable gits have to consider that the day as a 12-hour shift, meaning I'm off on my holidays in June. I get a week off just using 16 hours of holiday. And this, it basically wouldn't work out with overtime and stuff like that. So if I have a holiday, I get extra cash from now. Been on JCB Wrexham, can't for the life of me remember it. He says, I remember the tractors on the A41. They're out there waiting for me. Yeah, a lot of them doing that, mate. So, and final news on this one from James Hardy. He says, good news, you didn't get lost. Bad news, you got there in time to crack out the truck guitar. Yeah, I'm not doing the truck guitar a lot. I've now discovered TV on my phone. So I tend to, I find something to watch for half an hour, and it makes the time go quickly, but I should get the guitar out. Problem with the guitar is sometimes it feels a little bit like work, and if it feels a bit like work, maybe you shouldn't be doing it. So, right, this week's Wise Guys. So, IFC Bert says, I'm looking to join the Courier Exchange with a long wheelbase Ford Transit Connect. Not sure what size that would be classed as. What's the average price per mile for a van of that size? Right, the general rule of thumb is a small van is a small van. It's a car, which is really a van. Short wheelbase, 1.2 metres. Medium wheelbase, 2 metres. Long wheelbase, 3 metres. Extra long wheelbase, 4 metres. What I recommend you do is you measure the back of your van. If it is classed as a long wheelbase Transit Connects, in my opinion, seem to be a smaller van. Measure the back. And you can put it up as a long wheelbase, but then put in the notes or put on your CX thing, I am driving a Connect. And if you're ever going for a long wheelbase job, put in the notes 2 metre bed or 2.2 metre bed. And they will say yes or they will say no. If you do that, you cover yourself. Otherwise, you could turn up in a job, it's 3 pallets, you can't get them on, and then you've got the shipper on the phone to you going, you said it was a long wheelbase. You can then reply, I said it was Connect, I said it was 2.2 metres, I had it on the front, it's written on the notes, or ring them. If it's a long wheelbase and you're not sure, say, what is it? If they say it's 3 pallets, I can't get 3 pallets in. So that's what I would advise. And Leachy says, if you're going to get a fishing bed chair, make sure you get a fishing sleeping bag as well, as they attach to the frame and makes it easy to fold away, plus it doesn't move while you're sleeping. I suppose that could be an option, but you've got to sleep in a chair. So, yeah, well, that's more on the tramping type thing. So, right, trucks this week. Belsization says, you need a truck with a sleeper. Rock God is also a rigid driver. Oh, mate, we've gone through this. The truck was inexpensive. It was the best truck out there for the money, and I'm still very pleased I bought it. If it had had a bed, I would have been happier. If it had a pod, I would have been happier, but it didn't. So, and for the money that I'd have to spend to change it, for the amount of time I stay out, it's hotels for me. He also says the quickest way to a divorce court is to become a truck owner driver. You need a very understanding wife, husband, or any other pronouns you want to insert. Yeah, well, it depends again how you run, doesn't it? Like I say, if you've got the sleeper and you're away from home 5 days a week, it's not brilliant. I go to work as early as I possibly can. I normally get home between 3:30 and 7 o'clock, depending on what time I start and how many jobs I do, which is fine. And I normally take, and the other thing to do is to text home and sort of go, I'm going to be home at this time. I'm worried about that. Yeah, I'm going to be home. I'm going to be home late today. I'm not going to be home till half 7 today. Otherwise, they're sitting there at 5 waiting for you to come in. You rock up at 7:30. But if you text them at 4, I'm not going to be home till 7. They can all watch TV, have baths, eat. It's not a problem. Steve Campbell says, anyone wishing to buy a twin sleeper DAF 2010 model on Northern Ireland plates. My boss has one for sale. Nothing wrong with it. Just too old for us. So if anyone's looking for twin sleeper DAF, I was too dear for me. But like I say, I've got one at the moment. But anyone's out there who's thinking of starting up, wants a 2010 model with pedigree, put it in the comments. I'll pass it on to Steve. And Andy Shivers says, what mileage was your truck when you got it? And what sort of price for an 18 tonne? My truck done around 300,000 miles. And it cost me 7,000 plus the VAT. So I paid 8,400 in total. It's now done around 335,000 miles, 340, something like that, which isn't a lot in the amount of time I've had it, to be honest with you. But a lot of truck jobs are shorter jobs, and it's probably worth the same money, to be honest with you, 'cause it hasn't gone up much. I've got full service history, I've got all the paperwork with it. If I was going to sell it right now, I'd probably get my money back. So if you buy clever, you can be all right. So that's what I hope for. Miscellaneous. Right, Dean says, I think it would be bad for all drivers to see bids, as it would drive down the prices further than they already are. This is true, Dean. This apparently is why the exchange doesn't post prices or that have been bidded and stuff like that. Also, I do believe it would be nice if there was a network out there. I mean, what do you call it? The multi-drop mob are trying to do it, aren't they? Where jobs would actually appear with a price. My only fear is it would appear. I mean, we've had a few. Sometimes they make you laugh. 18 tonne needed to go 11 pallets, and a job is 116 miles. Job pays 120 quid. I saw that this week. It was something like that, and I just thought, crack on. Anyone who wants to do that, fill your boots, it's not for me. Oh, you've got to be mad, ain't you? But anyway, who knows? Ollie says, hi, I have a refrigerator van. Do you see many loads on the CX that require that, and what should you charge for a standard van? Ollie, I'll try and do you a link, mate. We did videos on this on specialist vans. To be honest with you, you don't get many refrigerated loads on the CX. You get the odd Hiab, you get the odd Moffat, but on the whole, if they do come up, you'll get good money for them, but they don't come up often. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it if you've got a specialist vehicle. I mean, if you can turn the fridge off and drive it as a normal van, that's fine. But I don't know if you'd want to. So, Andy Darwin says, CPC card, is it best online, at home, or in the classroom? Andy, I did mine online, and I'm very, very happy with it. They were a good firm. I can't remember the name of them now. But yeah, basically it's on the Zoom thing. It started at 8, I think it started about 8:30 in the morning, and it finished at 4:30 at night, and I'd done it for an entire week. Started Monday morning at 8:30, finished Friday night at 4:30, and in the entire week managed to get my CPC. Now you're supposed to keep them updated. In an ideal world, what you would do is do a course a year. I haven't. I kind of figure that what I'll do again is in 5 years' time, if I'm still running a truck, and it looks very much like I will be, I'll have to have a week off to do my CPC again. That's it. So, and I wouldn't want to lose it. Even if I wasn't running a truck, I'd want to keep that card just in case I wanted to, Christian Gray says, he said, I don't understand why you would want more people running 18 tonners on the CX when it would mean less jobs for your business. The thing is, Christian, there's a big difference between me saying something and doing something. I did a video on this. This comes from Molly's boyfriend Dave, which is the turning mud into gold video. And just because and I'm here to help people. We've said this before. The channel is designed to help people. But I've always been totally transparent. All the way through, people have gone, why are you advertising? Why are you telling people to do what you do? Then they can go out and get looted and work in your area. And as a result of which, all I've done is hopefully help a load of people. I don't think it's hurt me financially. And I've ended up in a position I am today. So I can understand your chagrin in why is he doing this? But ultimately, there's a big difference between me telling you what I did or how I think you should do it, and then you actually doing it. So, but if you do, I feel happy. All power to you, like, you know. And finally this week, on the Dartford Tunnel, Dan Petrie says, I always say, do you know what I always say? Go right, don't go left. I think I've been over the, through the tunnel, before you say anything, Steve. Through the tunnel 2 or 3 times this week, and at least twice I've gone through and I've looked to the left, red lights. Both times. So I'm like, yeah, go right. Because they turn the red lights on to let the tankers through. So he said, I did this, I had a parcel drop in the South End. I was at work in the car, took my chances, went on the right side, very quick, very busy on the left side. Go right. It's the right way to go through the tunnel. And finally, in conclusion this week, from London Creative, Nick says he didn't learn from last week's mistakes, no chapter markers again. Right, you. What I've done, because I've got like a basic template that I've attached all these comments to, I've actually written, there it is, timestamp, to remind me to fill in the timestamp. So this week, there should be timestamps, but I wouldn't bet your house on it. Right, that's it, guys. I hope you're going to have a wonderful weekend. Back to work on Monday, get a full week this week. 5 days, proper run it out and a proper chance to take care and take money.